It has created jobs in the United States. That's what BMW's chief executive is telling us tonight. He says, quite simply, the free trade model generates wealth. Harald Kruger spoke to Melissa Bell, and both were at the Paris Auto Show.
I mean, we are in a very volatile market situation. If you think about the free trade and if you look at the global markets, what happens in Europe or what happens in the UK, there are still markets which are growing. We are acting with flexibility, but markets are under pressure, definitely. And this is a little bit one of the outcomes. But I'm optimistic.
You are, of course, at the front line of the trade disputes, of these growing trade wars. Already you've had to pass on the result of retaliatory tariffs from China onto consumers there, shifting some of your production as well to China. These are effects that are already being felt.
We decided to build the X3 in China already a couple of years, 2.5 years ago. So we are building on the one side the X3 in Spartanburg, which is our biggest plant in the world, in South Africa and China, so to adjust to the local production needs and to the local markets. So with our very flexible production network, we can adjust to that overall worldwide situation.
On the question of Spartanburg, it is remarkable that you have the biggest plant in the world. You export the most amount of cars that are made in the United States, and yet you are one of those companies that's likely to bear the brunt of Donald Trump's tariffs, especially these car tariffs go through. How do you feel about that? What can you do?
I mean, we are clear ambassadors of free trade across the globe because the free trade model definitely creates wealth. You can see that in South Carolina. We have now more than 11,000 people working in our plant. 70% of the production is exported. Yeah? BMW is the biggest net exporter in terms of value from the United States. And that was the success of Spartanburg. And we continue to build on this one. And I believe in the free trade. And that has demonstrated that it will create jobs. And that's what we need.
What would a no Brexit or a bad Brexit deal mean for the car industry?
I mean, first of all, I'm looking forward that there's a pragmatic solution on both sides, because if there's a hard Brexit or a chaotic Brexit, both sides will lose. The UK will lose and Europe will lose as well. So I hope that there is a way out in terms of a pragmatic solution. But we're preparing for a shutdown in April to pull forward something we planned in August to prepare if there is maybe some problems. And the flexibility we can pull ahead is something we will take as a lever. But if you know that we are building the Minis on the one side in Oxford, on the other side in the Netherlands, we can also move production and adjust it where needed. But I'm clearly driving the business that we prepare for the tough Brexit if it comes, but we need to have a political solution on both sides, otherwise both sides will lose.
If a tough Brexit is on the cards, that will have an impact, though, on jobs in the United Kingdom.
That is too early to say, definitely. But what it means to the process chain, to the value chain, that is having an impact, because we need, you see, every day we have 100 lorries and trucks with parts going into the UK and coming out with finished products. So if there's a disturbance, that will have an impact on the profitability.
In fact, listening to you, car makers like yourself are dealing with such choppy waters. The big problem is uncertainty, and on both fronts, in terms of Brexit and what Donald Trump might or might not do. Can you remember a time that has been anything like this complicated for car makers?
It's a complicated situation on the one side, but on the other side, the strength of BMW is to have a huge global production network, having flexibility as its strength, having as a competitive advantage. And these times show definitely that you need this flexibility and that we are good at preparing this. On the other side, as a business, we need free trade. Clear.